to another edition of Wrestling Sheet Radio. We're back. I'm sorry. I know last week we weren't here, but we're back. I'm back at least. The rest of the crew, as you can see, is not here. I'm here with my guest co-host this week, Norman Quarrinton. How are you doing?
I'm good,
my man.
How are you?
I am doing good. I like your new bald look going on over here.
I had to give up. It was too much effort.
Well, yeah, when I saw you at the GCW show and you said, I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. But it's always good when you can pull it off. At least you can pull it off.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Because that's probably... as a guy who always has had long hair, that's the fear, I would imagine. It's like, well, what if I can't pull it off, though? And then I've done it.
It was a big fear. And since I've done it, you guys were like the 10th people to say, you have a really good shaped head for being bald.
You got a whole like Zach Gibson vibe going on.
Yeah, there we go.
Right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
right. That's his name, right?
Liverpool's number one.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Although I do hate Liverpool Football Club with a passion, but still.
I forget in the UK that's like a whole thing. One time I went to the UK and I went to England and I was just cold. And I'm not a sports guy. And I went into like a store and was just like, do you guys have any scarves? And they were like, yeah, we got tons because it was like a touristy area. I just grabbed the colors that I liked. Yeah. I'm not a sports guy, so I just
bought a Man United scarf or something.
Yes, and I was in like I think it was like black and red. So would that be
black and red,
or maybe blue and black? Maybe it was one of the two.
Were you in London?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you could have just bought. You probably just bought the wrong.
I just know that I bought the wrong one in that area, and everywhere I went the rest of the trip, people were really mean to me because of the scarf. Not just because they were like nice to the rest of my party, like, oh, this asshole, whatever.
You gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful.
I saw someone getting beat up
because of football.
Because of whatever you want to call it. I saw someone getting beat up for repping the team that I was wearing the scarf of, and I was just like,
they must have been
care that much.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, it was like a bar, and like
there must have been a match day or something.
It's something, and I was like, I don't care that much, and I don't want to be dragged into that because I'm on vacation.
Soccer's fake.
Well, let's get into the real stuff then. Let's talk about. I want to talk about Matt Hardy. I think to me it was the biggest story of the week. It's been something that was telegraphed for weeks now. But I mean, for a while now, this whole Exalted One stuff, I was out there saying like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Matt Hardy. And a lot of people were like, no, this is clearly something he's doing to angle for more money in WWE and stuff like that. And now this week we finally got the first part of the finale. It was Free the Delete series, and the Young Bucks show up at the end of it. He made a call to them last week or whatever. So what'd you think about, finally the fact that like it seems like Matt Hardy is en route to AEW?
I will say I did think so. I thought it was. I thought the whole thing was a work right up until the point the Young Bucks showed up in in his thing. I was like, okay, maybe now. Okay, yeah, okay. now I give in. I think it makes sense. I think they'll probably utilize. I mean, look, before he re-signed with WWE in 2017, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I was at that WrestleMania, so I should remember. He was probably one of the hottest things in wrestling, and WWE re-signed him, called him off completely. They tried to recapture some of that magic, but it didn't work. And the split second he leaves again, he's jumped right back into it and is doing his own thing, and he's building momentum again. And I trust AEW to utilize that character and that gimmick way better than WWE. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm also excited. I think that the reason I was more aware this time was because of the whole Jon Moxley thing, Dean Ambrose. Yeah. When he left, I was so like, he's not leaving. Like, he's not leaving.
That did seem like a work because they
were so nice.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like glowing goodbye, the goodbye special. It was like, they're doing this to make sure he comes back. And if you were like letting him get his rocks off on the indies for a while and he's going to come back, like he's not signing with AEW. And now that's where he's the AEW champion. Yeah. So like, I think that when I saw all this happening, and also I think there's, in this whole discussion, only because it didn't get reported at the time, it didn't get reported until so long later, that I think one of the key things to me in all of this was back before Matt and Jeff signed with WWE a few years ago when they had the whole WrestleMania thing. They had brokered an agreement of sorts between Ring of Honor and Impact.
Yeah.
And there was going to be a deletion match of some sort with the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks, and they were going to get to do an Impact deletion match, and I believe the trade-off was going to be Matt and Jeff doing like a match in ROH 2 or something like that,
Yeah. Didn't they, I can't remember properly, but I feel like the night before that WrestleMania,
they wrestled in Ring of Honor against the Young Bucks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
No, they did. They did. They had a ladder match.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
But that was after they'd already left Impact.
Okay.
Because remember, all that stuff happened where like Matt had all those issues with Impact and all that. So he wanted out of his deal and all that kind of stuff, and it was like a whole drama that surrounded it. Before that happened, they had brokered this agreement of sorts, but then it all fell apart when Matt and Jeff wanted to leave Impact. Then they re-signed with WWE. But they did have that tiny little thing. They had that match, and so because of that, I go like, come on, like Matt is clearly frustrated that he was one of the hottest things in wrestling at the time, and has severely cooled off to no fault of his own. We even saw when they used him in something meaningful. Fans loved it when he had just for these past couple of weeks, with the whole Randy Orton thing. So, a lot of that was seemed pretty evident to me. But from what I've heard with the Free the Delete thing, it was written in a way to where the ending could have been wherever he went, either AEW or staying with WWE, because there were elements of Bray Wyatt in the Free the Delete series too. Okay. So the ending, he could have been calling Bray Wyatt, and he could have, that Bray Wyatt helps him find Broken Matt or whatever. Because you haven't been watching the Free the Delete series,
a little
right?
bit here and there, and I've seen clips and stuff. But so do you think that he didn't? He kind of kept that open-ended. He didn't know until like the very last minute, basically.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that because WWE was trying and make something work.
Yeah.
They were trying to make it
keep him.
They wanted to keep him.
I mean, if nothing else, they want to keep him so no one else can have him. I mean,
he's a very creative guy.
Yeah, for sure. And he's been creatively frustrated there, I think, for like a long, long time.
Absolutely.
I think Vince has always seen Jeff as the main one. So,
always. Yeah. That's why I think, when Jeff was on backstage this week, he was kind of like, we haven't talked, me and Matt or whatever, but it seemed like he was kind of excited to get a singles run again because Jeff was always in WWE's, Vince's eyes.
Yeah, the bigger
star. And he could probably, in theory, get a world title, at least be in the world title picture if he, plays his cards right.
Yeah, he can be in like elimination chamber matches and stuff like that.
At some point in this year,
stuff like that.
Oh, they got rid of the elimination chamber for the men this year.
Oh, they did?
I think he was going to be in it. Even though they announced who was going to be in it, I feel like that's why he was coming back. And then it was like, oh, well, never mind. But
so there's only
Jeff's
one
back.
elimination chamber match?
I think there's... Isn't there going to be two? Isn't there one? There are two women's elimination chamber matches, right?
Two women's match? Okay, yeah.
Oh, no. Isn't it hold on, I got.
You can tell we watch the product.
No, because
who has time to watch all this wrestling now?
No.
Like AEW.
It's hold on. I know there's two chamber matches. Hold on. I
know
the one with Asuka and Shayna and all that kind of stuff. And then the other one is
One's like Sarah Logan's in that one as well, right? It's like
isn't it their tag team one? Isn't it the hold on. Right now only one is listed.
Okay.
But I thought there was a tag team one.
Yeah.
No, it was. Yeah, SmackDown Tag Team Championship elimination match. That's elimination chamber match. That's what I thought. Yeah, the tag team and then the women. That's what it is.
That makes sense.
They teased like there was maybe going to be a second women's elimination chamber match for a second. I think when during one of the backstage interviews, and they also made it seem like there was maybe going to be a men's one when Sheamus talked about it.
Oh yeah.
But no, it's the tag team one.
Making it up as they go along.
I think it's because when WrestleMania is involved.
Yeah.
That's always so fluid sometimes too, when like they haven't fully, finalized everything or whatever. So I think that probably plays a part in it. Back to Matt Hardy.
Oh yeah.
I think
got sidetracked.
No, yeah. I think that I agree with you that his creativity is going to be a huge asset to AEW. It seems like that's where he's going. I do think that he's the exalted one. Okay. It's almost felt like with AEW to a certain degree they're not trying to like give you the thing that you're not expecting.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems like they want to do fan service.
Yeah,
like, no, you were that's what you want. Like, that's the fan thing. Like, okay, we'll give it to you.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
whether it's to their detriment or not. You know,
Yeah.
or to their betterment. You know,
Yeah.
I think that there's it seems to be the MO. You know, like so.
Yeah, it makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah,
they've been teasing it the most.
Who else is there? I guess Luke Harper was.
But it seems to me like Luke Harper and Archer are going to be involved with Jake the Snake.
Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting.
I mean, like he said client.
Mm-hmm.
A client could be a tag team, maybe. Like he could get away with that, sneaky. You know,
that's true. Yeah.
I for some reason I feel like that's why Archer wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
I feel like because remember they teased that Archer was going to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it feels like that's why he wasn't there. It was like, well, let's actually go. Let's start it with this as opposed to starting with Archer coming out. Like let's have him have a more impactful entrance. Maybe.
Either way, I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm stoked.
You liked the Jake the Snake
Oh,
stuff?
I loved that. Yeah, definitely. And that was brilliant. It's wild because Jake the Snake has always been, a great promo. But the promo I feel like he's most famous for is that one that he did really badly, right? At the, the one I'm talking about where he's like, you want to play 21? You want to play blackjack?
Oh, yeah, yes,
I got 22 or something. Well, I can't remember it, but that's the one that that went viral and that everyone was talking about, which is not a good representation of his promo work.
No.
But it was great to see him like looking good and just being very as articulate as any wrestler can be, and just cutting a money promo on TV. I loved it.
I almost wondered, and the other reason I thought Archer and Harper was I almost thought that like Harper, Archer, and Jake the Snake are very much like
I could see them as a trio.
A trio that is almost reminiscent of the Wyatt family, but like different.
They just they're all just kind of weird and big.
And Jake the Snake is a good talker, just like Bray Wyatt is. It's not like Bray Wyatt is in some way influenced by Jake the Snake a little bit. It always kind of feels that way. They've got a similar
cadence.
Yeah, they got a similar vibe or whatever. I like the Jake the Snake promo a lot. I did like that we finally got our first legend who was like, Tully kind of did it, but Jake was the first one who was like, I don't freaking care who you are.
Yeah.
Like, like you're Dusty Rhodes uncool. Like you're out here crying, like cool, like, shut up.
He called Arn Anderson a one-trick pony.
Which was so good. Which was so good.
I love that.
And that closing line was cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That closing line.
Mic. I wonder if that helped. Do you think he was meant to catch that mic?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they had to have kind of like.
Yeah, they're definitely better at making stuff not look forced, I think.
Totally.
Because that I was like, whoa.
Whoa, he got the microphone.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's a badass.
Wait, have you talked about Cody's tattoo?
I was actually I felt like it was the right time to bring it up.
We got to address the elephant.
Man, like
I think it might.
Before we get into it, I want to go first.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want to tattoo shame anyone.
No,
because
for sure.
You know what? Tattoos are such a personal thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's such a personal thing that like they mean something to the person for the most part. If you're not 18, even when you're 18, sometimes it does. But like for the most part, especially when you're an adult, getting a neck tattoo. Usually it means something pretty deep to you. So I don't want to like give him too much shit, But it doesn't look cool.
No, and so neck tattoos are risky,
especially if you have such a blank canvas. Like he does.
That's what I was gonna say. If he had more ink around that area and something, or like if he was covered in tattoos, then it would probably look way better. Because it's just one like patch, like right there. It looks like he ironed a Hot Topic patch onto his neck or something. But yeah, I'm sure in 6 weeks no one will care. Like no one will.
Well, I don't know. It just it's.
Looks a bit magger as well.
I think the other part to me is that Cody is like the pretty baby face son of Dusty Rhodes that like, American, from Atlanta, just like red, white, and blue. That's the vibe I feel like he's going for, like almost like modern day Sting, the bleach blonde hair. He's like, he's just the money, all that kind of stuff. the neck tattoo does kind of take away from that to a certain degree.
Yeah, and it took away from. I mean, it's all people were talking about, and yeah, it kind of took away from from the match.
100% took away from the match.
I don't know. Yeah,
because they had a good match, but people were 100% talking about Cody's neck tattoo during the match, after the match, memes related to the match. 100% took the focus away. Like, he could have come out with that the week before, the week after. Like, also, you're not. Do you have any tattoos?
Oh, yeah, I've got a few, yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to sweat on a tattoo right
That's
after
what I
you
was
get
thinking.
it.
I was like, how long ago? Yeah, I didn't know how long ago he got it because there was that he was doing a thing where he was wearing a scarf covering
it would have had to have been
but it's still
after Wednesday.
Yeah, way too raw.
Because he was on the final Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
It had to have been sometime in those 3 days.
Sweat. You're not supposed to like touch the fucking thing.
I know.
Excuse my French.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, he can't, he's like getting it punched and stuff. Like, people are rubbing on it. He's getting the mat rubbed on it, the ropes, everything.
That was the one thing driving me crazy. Yeah. I was like, if this means a lot to you, you're messing it up. Like, you're messing up the
saran wrap around that neck, baby,
like,
and then get in the ring.
That's how I looked at it when I was watching it. I was like,
Neosporin, saran wrap, and then get in there, man. Come on.
He's wrestling the match, saran wrap around his neck.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it is what it is. I just thought, for business wise, you know, he's kind of the face of the company at this point.
He just needs to get more tattoos now.
He needs to get more tattoos to cover to kind of
don't go full Corey Graves, but yeah.
Chest is painful though.
Yeah, yes.
Like, my buddy, I remember tried to get a full chest tat.
He gave up.
And he did the outline, and then just like I haven't seen him in a few years now, but I remember like he, for a few years, didn't try. So I don't know if he's finally gone back and gotten done. But he was like, that was the most pain I've ever had in my life. I don't want to experience that again.
Cody does have that one on his chest already, right? The
dream
one, yeah. So he's got that already. But yeah, that's pretty.
I mean, like, he could do a whole shoulder thing to fill it out eventually one day. But that's just a commitment.
Yeah,
it's a big commitment. I also, just MJF related, the him flipping off the little kid thing. That was one of the funniest things of the week to me. The fact that it got so much press yesterday. For those of you who didn't see it, there's this video of MJF, and he is at the C2E2 convention, and, you know, anyone who was going to take a picture there with MJF, who's a wrestling fan, knows. You would think, if you're waiting in a line to get a picture with this guy, you know
something's gonna. Yeah, you know
who he is. So, like, you know that he's mean to fans. Like, it's his thing, you know?
So were the kids' parents mad or something? Or?
Oh, you didn't see?
No, I saw the picture, and but I didn't know the kids' parents were upset. They were upset?
Dude, oh my God.
What?
Dude, so the dad went on Twitter afterwards, right? And he said, I tried to laugh it off, knowing he was just in character, but it really upset my kid. I know that's MJF's gimmick, but my kid's only 7 and doesn't understand. Tom says his son is now being mocked online, which he wasn't.
No.
And wants AEW to keep talent in check when meeting kids at events.
No. Sorry.
Cody responded to Tom, essentially saying he should have known what he was getting into.
I mean, Jesus
Christ, in this poll, it says, whose side are you on, the wrestler or the kids at TMZ? 58,000 votes. 60-40 for MJF, but 40% of people voted for the kid?
Yeah.
What?
But you can if you want to take your kids to meet wrestlers, go see Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus or something. Not
also,
like MJF.
Just teach your kid what a character is.
Yeah, and also just teach him that it's fake. Like,
this guy's an actor.
Yeah, when you do the Santa Claus talk, say also MJF, not a real. He's not really like that.
Or you don't do that, he's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not hard. I saw other people where it was like, they were like, this is what happened when MJF flipped off my kid. It was at a Beyond Wrestling show, and they were on the beach, it seemed like, for some reason, the show, and this little kid runs up to MJF and he flips him off. MJF flips off the little kid. Kid flips MJF off back. Same age kid. And MJF flips and jumps out of the ring, and the kid darts away and they go right away. And MJF's like all hot at the kid. That's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly,
Like, come on. There's another one, too, where MJF is, like, taking a picture with a little kid, and he's flipping off the little kid, and the little kid's just, like, all excited to flip him off back, you know? Like, that's what you... Like,
fun
come
and
on, like,
games.
grow up. Like, I shouldn't say grow to a 7-year-old, but, like, to the parent, to the dad, I'm saying grow up, not to the child.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you know? Like, someone said to me, like, oh, like, should they have also... Did your dad also ruin... Because my dad, like, I went backstage to a WWE show when I was also around that age. And that's how I learned that wrestling was, like, actors mixed with, you know, with athleticism and stuff. And I said something like that, and someone was like, what, did your dad, like, he killed kayfabe for you that young? Like, did he also tell you that, like, Santa wasn't real when you were young? I was like, yeah, he's Jewish. Like, he super didn't give a fuck about telling about Santa. I, like, very vividly remember being at a Kmart, standing in line, and it was, like, December before Christmas, and, like, there was, like, a Santa, like, on the cover of, like, a National Enquirer, like, you know, those old dumb ones, like, aliens in Colorado, like, one of those kinds of things. Something about Santa, and I was like, Dad, look, Santa. And he was like, oh, Santa's not real.
Yeah.
Like, Santa's not a real person. He's fake. You know, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like, I told my mom, who's Christian, and was so mad
Oh,
at
she
my
was
dad.
pissed?
Oh, so
Okay.
pissed. But I was like, yeah, like, that shit happens. That's what happens when you're a kid. Like, I also didn't like haunted houses because my dad took me when I was too young. And my dad made fun of me about it for 20 years. He didn't...
It's all, like, fairly inconsequential as well, this kind of stuff. Like, and also, well, wrestling for me as a kid, it got more enjoyable when I found out it was fake, you know?
Yes!
Because then I was like, oh my God, what the heck? Like,
Totally.
now it's a whole new thing. Like...
It's still interesting to me all this time later, probably because of that. Like, I
Yeah.
probably would have, like, maybe fallen out of it at some point in time. But, the whole behind-the-scenes world of things is super, super interesting, you know? Like, it's okay to kill kayfabe for a 7-year-old
sure.
if they're sad about getting flipped off by the wrestler.
Yeah. I just remembered being 11 years old and being in school and telling people in my class that wrestling was fake, and a couple of people were super shocked and were so adamant that it wasn't. And one guy's argument was like, he was like, wait, so is boxing fake too then, huh? And I remember like, oh man, I'm giving up.
I can totally picture a young 11-year-old Norman being such a smart, trying to tell everyone that it's fake.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to. You could just watch it yourself. Like, I mean, boxers have like one match a year, maybe. Wrestlers wrestle like every single night. That's how you know it's fake.
So I take it, since you didn't see the story, you didn't see the comment that MJF gave to TMZ about this. They reached out to him for comment.
No, go on.
His statement back just said, fuck them kids.
I love it.
That's so good.
He's great.
Yeah, he's so good.
Did you see, there was a clip from the Jericho Cruise where he's doing a Q&A, credit to Chris Ross. This was Chris Ross's video. He's a Scottish wrestling fan. He asked them it was Meltzer, Alvarez, and MJF. And his question was, what's your favorite McDonald's order? And Meltzer and Alvarez answered like, you know, fries or Big Mac, just normally or whatever. And MJF goes, what the fuck is McDonald's? I loved it.
So good. That's so good. And also, since we're on the topic of just great heels, we got to talk about Randy Orton and Beth Phoenix this week. I love this so much. I think my only complaint is that he didn't go further. Like the fact, like, you know, anyone watching this saw it. So, you know, you saw the RKO, and you know,
I bet she wanted to go further. I bet she was like, do more, and people.
I guarantee it.
Nah,
I guarantee it. Well, there's rumors that she might be wrestling at WrestleMania.
Okay.
So my guess is, if that's true, they couldn't have her go full force because she couldn't take a concerto, because then she'd be gone for a long time, and she's still the NXT announcer, so they can't have her gone that long. If he does like full punt kick, same.
Yeah.
And so my guess is like, RKO's good enough, you know, and they had everyone else run out and get in the way. But also his promo beforehand. That was a masterful promo.
He's like, I've said this before, I think, but when he gives a shit, he's so brilliant and so enjoyable and so entertaining. And and he definitely gives a shit about this. I'm loving it. And I just don't think he'd ever be face as well.
It's funny, you know, a lot of the guys who we saw coming up when we were younger are now those top guys, and they all kind of are that, in my opinion. And that's true, actually. Most wrestlers that are veterans, but like there's John Cena. John Cena can have a dope match if he gives a shit and wants to, wants to help put someone over. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar can have a dope match if he wants to make someone look good. Like, you could just look at what he did with Drew McIntyre this week and how he's clearly trying to help Drew McIntyre, ascend to the next level. I'm trying to think of who else. Randy Orton. Randy Orton. I think that we're kind of like all those guys. They got shit for a long time. They can pull it out.
I've mentioned on this show before that I didn't. Batista, Orton, Cena, like when they all first came in, I wasn't into them at all. It took a long time for me to for them to really click with me, and eventually they all did. But yeah, you're right. It's like when Randy Orton first came in, like I didn't like him, but not necessarily because he was a heel. It was just like I just don't really like this guy. It was more like go away heat instead of like heel heat. But now it's just like I just find him, and
he's so good. He's been on like a roll, and like he was hit and miss depending on what they put him in for a while, but he's just been on a roll. Yeah. Like not even just this the past like year, he's just been he's been on fire, killing it. I thought that I liked his explanation for the attack. It made sense, like crazy like in like a villainous crazy person way, like when you'd see like the villain explaining like their plan to the good guy before they lose type thing. And I'm guessing they're gonna get a good amount of time at WrestleMania to do their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like.
So is Edge supposed to be on Raw soon or something?
He was announced for Raw
in DC
next week,
right?
So in a few days. But then they pulled the announcement from like the page.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm guessing he's has some kind of
he's going to show up a few times before Mania.
Oh yeah, he's got to have at least one or two before Mania. We're getting close now. So.
I mean, that's got so far. I mean, I don't know. It's not properly like on the card yet, is it? I don't think. But
no.
Let's assume that it is happening, which it almost definitely is. That is so probably the match I'm personally most excited for.
Me too.
Yeah.
That leads to my question then, since we're both feeling that way. Do you end the show with this one?
Edge's
first actual match back.
Yeah. I mean,
let's say they do some kind of like unsanctioned, match. Do you end it with that match?
Yeah. Well, you never know with WrestleMania these days because they don't always end it. I mean, like, what was it? Was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before when the first match was Rollins and Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so sometimes they just.
Wasn't that last year?
Yeah, was it last year? Okay,
I believe so.
The match order just doesn't necessarily matter too much.
Well, that's why
it used to.
It seems like they try things out.
Yeah, I could see it going on. I can definitely see it going on last. And I wouldn't care. I would like it if it went on.
Because I feel like their whole thing that they've been saying is like, well, let's say there's 14 matches on the show, which I think there might be 14 matches on the show.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That show's like 8 hours long.
Yeah. now I'm pretty sure that's like there's gonna be like 14 matches. That's kind of the word on the street, something around that, right? So like and everyone said last year everyone was tired for Becky's big moment, right? I feel like the people this angle is so hot if they play their cards right all the way to Mania and they're gonna give them like 30 minutes to just go wild.
Yeah. Might as well put it on last.
I feel like you might as well put it on last because this is something that everyone will stay awake for. Everyone wants to see his first match back for real.
Lesnar McIntyre is going to be first.
You think? So Brock can get back out of there on his jet?
So he can go home again, yeah. But also, I don't care if it's first. I like when they did the Rollins-Lesnar match up the top and it was over in like 10 minutes or whatever. I loved that. I thought it was awesome. I thought that was a really hot
just
start.
Like Rollins last year.
Oh, no. I don't think
Rollins didn't work and they're like, well, we got a meteor-looking version of Rollins now that's going to be Brock. He's not just going to kick him in the dick a bunch of times. People like Drew McIntyre more.
Claymore to the dick.
Yeah. Oh, God. They just do the exact same formula of just claymores to the dick instead of dick kicks and stuff. Yeah. I would like Drew McIntyre to be later in the show this time.
No, yeah.
I feel like they don't end with it. I feel like they don't end the night with Drew McIntyre versus Brock.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't end they could theoretically end the night with Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. But do you really end the show with that?
No, maybe that's first.
See, like I'd rather that be first.
Yeah. I mean, it was
honestly, I'd rather just that Goldberg attempts to spear him. He ducks it. Superman punches him.
Yeah, I mean, that should be over pretty
spears
quickly,
him. Done. You know, like, shouldn't be long.
Yeah.
Put that early.
Yeah,
Put
definitely.
that first.
Get that out of the way.
I guess McIntyre and Drew McIntyre and Brock could be late then, and you could do Brock and Goldberg, Goldberg and Roman Reigns early.
And then it wasn't that long ago that we had a WrestleMania main event that wasn't a title match. That was Roman
wasn't
and Undertaker,
there?
Right?
That's what I was going to say. Roman Undertaker. It's the last one I could think of.
So
right?
it wasn't that long ago. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility for them to put a match that doesn't have anything.
That's the only reason I say that. Because I was like, I guess, like they'd done it.
Yeah.
It was different, I think, but same. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this is certainly a much more interesting and engaging feud than the Roman Undertaker one was, and that they thought that was worthy of the main event. So,
and Undertaker wasn't really present for that one either.
Yeah, exactly.
And Randy Orton just been doing masterclass work on his own, just waiting for Edge to return.
Yeah.
So, I really want to see where they're going there. But that was great. What wasn't great? Well, before I get to that, since we kind of just talked about it, I was so mad at Super Showdown. It's only because I didn't do a show last week, so I'll briefly mention it, and I've tweeted enough about it. But I was so disappointed in just. I was so disappointed. But, I mean, in retrospect, now that I've had time to breathe.
Yeah, to stew on it.
Yeah. See what happened on SmackDown. I mean, I guess, if you needed... it
just wasn't a good show. But sometimes they can do stuff in the aftermath that retcons it a little bit. But, yeah, I mean,
my beef was this. To me, you want the biggest title matches possible. We were just sitting here saying, like, well, maybe like they won't go on last. To me, the title match should be very clearly last, in my opinion. Like, I get that I just now said I could see it, but that's because I'm looking at what they actually do.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. You're analyzing it based on what their own criteria,
correct?
Instead of what you as a fan
would like to see,
would logically want to see. Yeah,
and to me, I go like, well, I always thought the title match should be last, and it should be the strongest title match possible.
Yeah,
and so when I look at that, I go, the Fiend has been this monster in WWE for almost a year now or whatever. Not full year, but for a while now, where he's been this dominant force, right? And just murdering people and selling merch hand over fist.
But not selling moves.
Not selling moves. No. But
in a good way.
But just like he moved past not being able to win in the big programs as Bray Wyatt, reinvented himself, is now a monster again, and is in the position where, at least in my opinion, if you keep the title on him and you have him, you're going to have him go against John Cena anyways.
Yeah.
Who bigger to go against this dominant monster who's been the champion this whole time than John Cena?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean you're right. That should be the title. That should be a title match.
If the goal is to make stars.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, we can both agree, John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, huge mistake if the Fiend loses.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
huge mistake, right?
Yeah. You can't. Well, yeah. To someone. I mean, he's already lost to someone who's never there. So don't do that again.
And he lost to John Cena at WrestleMania as Bray Wyatt years ago.
Oh, yes.
Which also started the downfall, in my opinion, of like, well, he can't beat John Cena. Then he can't beat this one. He can't beat this one. And then it just like snowball affected, right? But he's fixed himself. So I think universally it's agreed, terrible plan if he's going to lose to John Cena.
Yeah.
So let's say the thought process is he's going to beat John Cena. It's so much bigger of a deal, John Cena returning and going for number 17 at WrestleMania against this undefeated monster to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That's a clear main event. Like, that's clear. And if you have Bray Wyatt win, Scary Monster Murder Clown beats Golden Boy John Cena from Fast and Furious and whatever, you've now got a possible another star on your hands that is going to break through that people are going to remember.
Yeah. I mean, And Bray just hasn't had I don't recall him having a WrestleMania moment.
No!
He lost to Undertaker.
He lost to John Cena.
Lost to Cena. Lost to Orton, which everyone was really mad about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
So
People were really mad about that.
This is going to be his moment. Why not just have him win? And if the plan is to have Roman Reigns take the title from him, I'm sorry, but like I don't think that he's going to get some monster pop when he pins Goldberg for the title.
Yeah, I think
people are going to be like cool because they're going to be happy that Goldberg's not champion anymore. But I don't think he's going to get some monster pop.
No. Do you think they keep booking Roman against people less people more hated than him to try and get him more over? I guess. Whatever? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But to me, it's like this would have been. You go, no one's going to pop if he beats Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. So then have Bray Wyatt win against John Cena at WrestleMania for the title. Yeah. And then whatever at the next pay-per-view, have him lose to Roman Reigns. Like you want to get the title on Roman Reigns, but a WrestleMania moment is sitting there
for Bray Wyatt.
And you're like pushing him aside. And I get it. A win over John Cena is going to be a big deal regardless.
That's probably how they're rationalizing it. That
is how they're rationalizing it.
You're beating John Cena.
He's beating John Cena at WrestleMania. Yeah.
Assuming he does even beat him, which I still am not 100% sure.
Well, that is my other fear, is that the reason they took the title off of Bray Wyatt
is this because they're just going to...
No, is because John Cena is going to win at WrestleMania, and they don't want him to get number 17 yet.
Yeah, got you.
So they had to get the belt off of Bray Wyatt. Yeah. But then you go, if you're going to have John Cena just come in and beat The Fiend, you might as well have just had him go against Elias like initially planned. Because, yes, it's a big story, it's a big deal, but you should not be sacrificing Bray Wyatt in this situation.
I was when he lost to Goldberg, for a few seconds, I was like, are they just going to pull the plug on him? Like, do they not have any confidence in this character anymore?
They do. That's the thing.
Must do,
they
right?
do.
Because you said he's selling merch. So,
even Eric Bischoff said on his podcast this week, he was like, when I was at SmackDown, like, we couldn't sell enough. They couldn't print enough Bray Wyatt merch. Like, it was selling so much.
Okay.
There's no way they can't sell enough Goldberg merch.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I feel like it's not worth sacrificing that commodity right there. You know? Like, that's money coming in. So that's how I looked at it. It frustrated me. I understand they see it, I'm guessing, from what I've kind of, like, put together. Like you said, that's his WrestleMania moment. He gets to beat John Cena, you know, and Goldberg versus Roman Reigns before would have just been spear versus spear. Now you've given some credibility to Goldberg to make the hurdle a little bit bigger for Roman Reigns when his moment happens at WrestleMania. Yeah. I get it. I just think that's how I felt when it came to the title situation.
Yeah.
The spider thing, though, real fast.
Oh, yeah, I did see this.
That spider thing was so silly.
Yeah, that's another thing where it's like
weeks.
Yeah,
they
just didn't know what they were like. We'll just think of it at the time, and then they just gave up on it.
No, they had to have put some thought into that because it was like a giant robotic spider. Like they had to pay for that. They had to see designs. Spider. They had to look at that went through some channels.
Wild Wild West.
That's what, oh man.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah,
I hated that movie.
Oh, I think loads of people hated it.
Only the song was cool.
Yeah, the song. Yeah.
Song was cool.
That was not a good movie.
No, it was really not a good movie.
No.
It comes on TV sometimes, and I'm like, this was really not a good movie.
Yeah, is Kenneth Branagh in that movie?
Yeah, he's the wheelchair spider guy, right?
Yeah, no, is it? Wait, yeah, Kenneth Branagh's the wheelchair spider guy, and then isn't Kevin Kline in it as well?
Yeah, he's Will Smith's
that's right. Yeah,
partner or whatever. Yeah,
Wild Wild West. Maybe I need to rewatch that. Maybe it's due a reassessment.
Wait, is that Kenneth Branagh? Wait, hold on.
I feel like I'm sure it is.
Hold on a second. Because he looks so different.
I feel like he's hamming it up in that.
Yeah, no, that is him. God, he looks so different in that. Crazy.
Kenneth Branagh, director of Thor.
He directed Thor?
Yeah, the first one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about AEW Revolution. Did you watch Revolution?
Mm-hmm. Good show.
Such a good show.
Yeah, loved it.
I really liked it. I thought that in the wake of Super Showdown, it sent a very different message. Like, I think that Super Showdown
it was a good
left a bad
cleanser.
taste. Yeah, totally. Left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It was like, Goldberg beats The Fiend. AJ loses to Undertaker.
Basically,
with
everything,
one choke
all
slam.
the wrong results happened. Yeah.
Ricochet gets squashed without putting one move in. And I understand Ricochet losing to Brock.
Mm-hmm.
They could have let him
get some offense in.
One. 2 moves.
I mean,
something.
He was partially responsible for eliminating him from the Royal Rumble, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Even if you're going to copy the Rollins thing, let him kick him in the dick once.
Yeah.
Get a flippy move in on him.
At this point, if you're wrestling Brock Lesnar, everyone should be kicking him in the dick.
Right? It's clearly his weak spot.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
My one weakness.
Like you could have even had him do some kind of flippy thing where Brock caught him and then F5'd
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
You know, Ricochet could have done that. Would have been at least a cool visual.
I bet they could have had a really good match.
They could have had a cool match.
I think Brock likes working with guys like that. Him and AJ had a great match.
It's weird how like the Kofi and Ricochet thing just quick, done.
Yeah.
And then some of the other small guys have been cool. I don't know what it is. I think it really just depends on who Brock sees as the main event. It really is. I mean, have you been watching the Ruthless Aggression documentary?
I watched the first episode, but I haven't seen the rest.
The Brock one's pretty good, even though he's not in it, which does take away from it because everyone else is in theirs.
Yeah. He was like, no.
What? No, not doing that.
Yeah. Come to Saskatchewan and film it, and then maybe.
But it reminds you of like who he is, why, in my opinion, we're lucky to have him back in WWE, but also just who he is, like what he got hurdled, what he got thrust into real fast, where he came from, and it's like why he left, you know, found success wherever he went afterwards. Like, so I like when he's around. Wait, how did we get on Brock?
Oh, because we were talking about the palate cleanser of...
Yes, sorry. Let's get back
Revolution.
to the thing the palate cleanser, though.
Tangents.
That's what I was like, wait, we were talking about AEW Revolution. How did
and now we're talking about Lesnar.
How we get to Lesnar. Anyways, Revolution. Dude, that tag match was one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. Like, I've seen the other superlatives of, like, best of all time.
Oh, what Meltzer said?
I'm not at liberty to say that just
Yeah.
because I've definitely not seen as many tag matches throughout history as that guy has. I mean, same as Wade Keller and all those guys. I mean, they've been around for decades or whatever.
There's like recency bias, I guess. Like if it's the most recent one you've seen and it was cracking, then you're like, I want to rewatch it and stew on it a little bit more before I make any. But yeah, I did.
Before making any rash decisions.
Yeah, but it was brilliant. And
I think the reason I liked it so much was because while the match itself, like the moves, everything was fun, and the AEW style of just their
like
chaotic,
their like match psychology storytelling.
But even like the Spot Fest style, of just like not a lot, the
PWG style.
PWG style, thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Because I am a loyal PWG watcher, but I also feel that sometimes if you do that too much on TV, it can be overkill. And that if there's story injected to it, it's like 100,000 times better. You know, that's why my favorite era of PWG was when Kevin Steen and, the Mount Rushmore stuff and like, all that was going on. Roddy as a heel, Kyle fighting back against all of them. There was like this story going on where it was like these bad guys in PWG and then like the top good guys, and it was like they had to have a ladder warfare. It was like all this stuff was going on,
and not just like random matchups.
Yeah, basically. And even like beating up Candice was involved, and then she had to have the tag match with Joey. So it was like story there. This to me was the first time where one of the signature style of AEW tag matches had all that story in it from the jump, like. From walking out to the end bell, even after it progressed the story in so many different ways. Like, I loved the fact that they started off as friends like they are, even though Hangman's drunk and he's unsure if he wants to stay friends with them.
Yeah.
That vibe started from the beginning. And I liked that as the match progressed, each person's role was to drag the most evil, bad version of the other person out because they had to go there in order to beat each other. Like, they couldn't just be the friends they are.
Yeah.
They all had to continually tap into, like, the thing they wouldn't tap into when they're going against their friend, from, Kenny telling Hangman, like, not to fight Matt on the outside to then later Matt doing things that were intentionally targeting the things in Kenny that he knows are his weaknesses,
for sure.
like the shoulder, and stuff like that, so that he couldn't do the one-winged angel on him, and then Hangman had to come in like, well, fuck you, I'm better, I'm the best one of the Elite, I'll just do the fucking one-winged angel since you can't, but then it didn't work, and even the like handshake to the spitting, there were so many layers in this match that I was just so impressed watching it, because sometimes we don't get that many layers.
Yeah. I mean, and the stuff that naysayers have to say about the Bucks and Kenny Omega and that whole crew, like the Elite and everything, about the sort of match quality and stuff, when they do stuff like this, it really does prove them wrong.
I heard, and I haven't listened to it yet, so don't go tagging Jim Cornette.
Yeah, don't snitch tag.
But
do not snitch tag.
But I heard, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I heard that he talked negatively on this match. And
of course he did.
And the Orange Cassidy match. And it really freaking annoyed me. And I haven't seen it, so I can't be that annoyed. I haven't listened to it yet. But just the thought of that, and I'm going to listen to it so I can hear what his full opinion was, because I don't want to make assumptions. I'll hear what his issues were. But I was just like, man, that to me feels like someone he doesn't like them and he wants to talk shit.
Yeah, and he knows he can make a little bit of money off of it.
Because it's a shtick now. There was so much psychology in it. And also, but I also understand that if you don't watch Being the Elite, if you don't watch all the side things, you maybe did not know the full extent to which they were doing things with, but I don't think it mattered. I still think that you saw what was happening. You could still
watch that match without watching any of that extra content and still know what was going on. That was why it was so good, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. But also, if you did watch all that extra stuff,
then you get more out of it.
It's even better. And I liked that a lot. It was cool.
Definitely.
I liked that a lot. And I felt like it just,
it's funny.
A lot of times in wrestling, I feel like lately, too often, it's the indie, and I shouldn't say name, excuse me. It's the dream match scenario where it's almost like they started to copy UFC in a way where it's like, oh, if we just say this person and this person are wrestling, people are excited about it.
For sure, definitely.
And they're going to look forward to that match. You don't need a story.
And I go, a boxing thing.
No.
Whatever.
Have you not noticed that those places all realize that they need to do what you do to hype their fights?
Yeah, they add narrative to, boxing always adds like narrative
Tyson
to
Fury
these,
and Deontay
these
Wilder
things.
is a perfect example of that. You know, Conor McGregor, the things that sell are the people that are doing pro wrestling. So I was like, why are you taking the part from them that is less successful? And that bothers me.
It's wrestling appropriation a little bit, because Tyson Fury is ostensibly a pro wrestler now who boxes, but nobody, and same with Conor McGregor, they cut promos. That's what they do, but nobody ever like mentions that they are sort of pulling from the pro wrestling world.
Conor gets it more now.
Yeah. But, I mean, Tyson Fury does at least acknowledge that he's a wrestling fan and stuff. So, but I
mean, you can't put out an entrance like he does and not be a pro wrestling fan.
Nah.
But just make sure it doesn't weigh 40 pounds or you'll be screwed in the fight. I liked the Orange Cassidy match.
I liked it too.
I thought they did a really good job of just like, it was a big question of like, can you maintain what you've got going with Orange Cassidy right now, and he still wrestles sometimes.
Yeah.
I like that they were able to kind of, and I know he's done it on the indies, but it's a harder thing to do on TV, I think.
Orange Cassidy is the wrestler, I think, the current wrestler who is the guy that wrestling fans are showing their friends who aren't wrestling fans to try to show them how cool wrestling is, or how interesting and fun it can be. Because they're like, he wrestles with his hands in his pocket?
Yeah, totally. They're like, what? It's almost like when Joey Ryan had the dick guy thing going for like, well, he's flipping with his dick?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's now that it's on national TV, it's like you're seeing people from the outside wrestling bubble that are kind of like, hey, I'm kind of liking that.
Yeah. There were a few tweets from some blue check mark people that aren't wrestling fans saying, who's this guy?
Totally. Yeah. I also, it's funny, when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, this is the Festus character, but done way better.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
right?
He's just like deadpan and
but that's what I said. Less offensive.
Yeah.
But like, kind of the same thing. Like, he's like, doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Has like a whole like different demeanor backstage. Like, people kind of talk to him as if like he's kind of like not there. He doesn't really care what's going on.
And then the bell rings.
When the bell rings, he can fight.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was fun. I was like, wow, he's got a modern day Festus. Like, in the best way possible. Because honestly, I liked Festus. I liked
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I liked
I mean, he's still there.
I know, yeah. I know. One thing I did, and I also, Moxley winning the title, definitely helped come out of the shadow of their bad match they had in WWE, Chris Jericho and Moxley.
Yeah, definitely. They did. I like that. I like that match a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
A lot of people said the finish was goofy.
I liked the finish.
I liked it too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sometimes I like it when a finish, when you're not expecting it, and it can't, because like.
Well, more the eye patch thing.
Yeah. Oh, that thing. Oh,
because it was like, why?
No, I like
saw
that
a lot of people
too.
go like, well, why would you intentionally wrestle with an eye patch the whole match? Like, and what advantage do you gain when you take the eye patch off suddenly?
You get the fans to cheer for you, and it makes you stronger. Duh. Everyone knows that.
The cheer level just going up inside his.
It was that Moxley taking off his eye patch is his hulking up, basically.
I was honestly a little sad when he took it off because I've been loving the eye patch so much. I want him to wrestle with
an eye patch forever. He looks like Solid Snake.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I loved it.
I was kind of like, oh, someone stabbed me in the eye again. Like, just the eye patch back. But I
No, I like the finish. I like that bit. I like that match. I like the result. I like the crazy weird promo afterwards.
Yep.
And Moxley,
it was like a John Cena promo, but the opposite. You
Yeah,
know, because it was like, "This is our title. This is us." You know, I was like, "Wait, that's what John Cena used to say." But
but people are.
But
on
about
the
pro
side.
wrestling, so I like it. You know.
And then, he is then on Dynamite on Wednesday when we haven't got there yet.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
But when he came out. And that pop he got was just, and this is such an obvious comparison to make, but it really did remind me of Attitude Era Austin.
He got a huge pop.
Yeah.
People love him.
Yeah, and I think it's so
That's
crazy.
why that promo works so well. Even though it was the old John Cena promo, worked for John Cena, and I don't think a lot of people noticed that it was very, not gonna say he copied him, but that shit's
sure.
like,
you're going to get
works.
it now, man.
No, but
Satin
I'm
saying that Moxley's copying John Cena.
but that stuff works, you know? Like, and it was kind of like, this is us. This is our title. We did this,
and
you
they
know?
played his music, and he swore. And they,
And then Moxley looked at the camera and started doing the you can't see anything.
No, but he's great. And it's so good to see someone like that get booked properly. And it makes you wonder, like, do you think he ever could, even if they had booked him properly in WWE, do you think he ever could have got to that point, or was it just a different audience, you know?
It's a good question. I don't think he would have been at that level with that kind of character because I don't think Vince sees his champion as that. That's why Punk was never the face of the company even when he was champion.
Yeah.
I just don't think he sees that rebellious person as like the mantelpiece.
Yeah.
You know?
He doesn't like it anymore. He liked it when it was Austin, but now he's like, the workers are grist for the mill.
I think even in the Austin era, like, he just couldn't deny. He just couldn't deny.
I feel like it was an accident, right? Yeah.
He just couldn't deny, and he was losing. So it was like, and then he was like, "This is clearly going to be the thing." I think he had to just, attach himself to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I think it's a good question. I also thought it was really smart on Dynamite this week to play into the thing where fans think that Jericho is going to be taking time away, because of Fozzy Tour, and to be like, well, if I don't make it out tonight, or if you make it out of here tonight, I'll take 60 days off, and everyone's like, oh well, Moxley's going to stand tall at the end of the night. I like that they flipped it on us, and then it was like, no, he didn't. He got beat up like you would if 5 guys were going to fight you. Yeah. I did think it was a little silly on Dynamite though, where everybody helped out. Did you see the part where where the Elite and the Inner Circle got into a big brawl?
Yeah.
So, like, the Inner Circle's in there. One by one, the Elite starts to come out to fend them off. But then later, when the Inner Circle's beating up Moxley, nobody comes to help him out.
Maybe, I don't know.
I was like, what's that all about?
Maybe they were tired from the fight before. They were recuperating.
Oh, we already did that once. Moxley's on his own. Did you see? I thought this was a little silly on Dynamite, too. That Pac and the Lucha Bros are in a faction now.
I didn't actually see that, but
it was short. It was after the Orange Cassidy match, after the Chuck Taylor match, Pac went to beat up Chuck Taylor. Trent jumped in to stop him. Then Orange Cassidy came in instead and was like, "I got this," and like stood off, kind of like stood up to him. But then the Lucha Bros snuck in and double super kicked Orange Cassidy, and they all got beaten down. Right? So did you not see what their name is?
Oh, they already have a name.
They already have it. Oh, he got on the mic.
Is it like? Hold on, let me try and guess.
Okay.
The Geordie Luchadors.
I like where your head's at, but think more what AEW loves.
Man, you're gonna have to tell me. I can't do it.
It's the Death Triangle. They love little like scary dark names like that.
In a circle, Death Triangle. They're all going to be shapes, right? All the factions are going to be shapes.
Totally. I saw someone mention that. Oh, they said that he almost has all the full PS4 things now.
That's funny.
What was the other one? I forgot what it was, but they pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, they do have all the different shapes in there. They do like the shapes. I was like, they don't need another faction in AEW right now, and especially one that has a Death or a Dark or a something like that in it. Like they've got the Butcher and the Blade. They've got the Dark Order.
I don't think Pac needs a faction either.
I don't either.
No.
I feel like they're very much not
compatible.
Compatible.
I think first of all, I think he's probably the best wrestler on the planet.
He's great.
But his character is that he's a bastard. He doesn't need anybody, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just feels a bit weird. But we'll see.
He's just like hanging out in his bridge, shirtless that he's been doing. But then like the Lucha Bros are just like standing there behind him.
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
Doesn't match to me. Doesn't match. And lastly, I want to talk about before we get out of here, the TakeOver Tampa card taking shape a little bit.
Oh wow.
Did you watch NXT?
I saw the cage match.
Okay, so NXT it seems like we're getting Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like having two cage matches on one show. I don't like having two of the same gimmick matches on one show. So I felt like the cage match last night, having two on the same show did kind of take away from each other.
There was two cage matches?
It started with Dakota versus Tegan in the cage, and that one was a little silly for my taste. A lot of like the finish was like Tegan was climbing out, but then Raquel held the cage and then pulled Dakota. It was a little silly.
This is why I don't like escaping from the cage
Me too.
stipulation. And if you do, you got to climb over the top.
And you got beef with them, so why would you want to escape?
Yeah.
You want to
stay in there and
beat him up.
Yeah.
And Tegan was the one climbing out. Tegan is the one who should not be climbing out.
That's kind of lame.
The heel should be climbing out.
Because those two have I've enjoyed their feud quite a lot.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated by that match.
That sounds
and I like them too. And I was like, but it doesn't make sense. Why would and I also like, why would you make one feel less important by having two cage matches on the show? Because even you didn't even know what happened, but you knew the other one did.
AEW did one cage match. We're gonna do two.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
And so, but I liked this. Well, I liked the match. Similarly, I thought the finish here was a little goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got Dream climbing up to the top of the cage, and then Undisputed Era comes out, and then he jumps off instead and gets back in the ring. And then throws once Adam Cole comes in the ring to fight him, he then throws Roddy out of the cage to lose.
Yeah,
to make himself lose, just so he can lock himself in with Adam Cole. It was like, it didn't quite make sense to me.
If you're gonna have two cage matches on the same show, you can't have them both.
Have like a silly climb out.
Nothing's more annoying as well than when someone is like on top of the cage, and if the stipulation is to escape from the cage, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna jump on them." Just leave.
Yeah, and that's what this one. It was like the whole point of the cage was to keep Undisputed Era out.
Yeah.
Then they easily were able to just get in. What was the point of the cage then? Like that's why the cage was there. They literally repeated the same spot from the match before. It was a good match. I felt like the finish was a little weak. But I like the Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole. I feel like that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a good one.
It's kind of logical, I suppose.
It seems like we're getting Finn Balor versus Walter for the UK title.
Yeah. NXT UK, that's where it's at, guys.
Are you a avid watcher of
No,
NXT
not
UK?
an avid watcher. No, I don't. There's like maybe 10 avid watchers. No, I'm not an avid watcher, but whenever I do tune in, like I said, there's so much wrestling.
Totally.
Whenever I do tune in, I like what I see.
That's how I feel with it too. I feel bad because there's so much to keep up with
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'm trying to cover other companies too.
Yeah.
But then when like a takeover is coming up and I have to like catch up on a bunch, or I'm gonna do an interview or something like that, and I'm catching up, I go like, oh, these were really good. They're even doing like out of the box thinking that's like not to make them not fully feel like NXT America, to kind of like
doing some weird stuff.
backstage thing or out the weird vignette or something. They've done a couple interesting things that I've liked.
A-Kid is in it.
Yes, A-Kid is in it.
And I love that guy.
And now I saw him, I think he started a feud with Brian Kendrick, I think.
Interesting.
I saw something between him and Brian Kendrick that I liked.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's fully in a feud with him. I just saw a scene backstage, and I was
that
like,
would be
oh, they're
really
probably
good
going to be
for
wrestling.
it would be really good for him to work with someone like Kendrick, I think.
I would think
because
so.
he's like 19, right?
So Finn Balor versus Walter, that'd be cool.
That should be good.
I'm guessing Finn Balor wins the NXT UK title, and then either he wins it, and they have the rematch at TakeOver Dublin the next month.
Oh yeah.
Or
there's a
Devlin versus Finn Balor in Dublin.
That would be good.
You would think you might want to do like that, or the Imperium causes Finn Balor to lose,
and they have a rematch,
and then they have another one for Finn Balor, and he wins it in Dublin. But you'd think they're gonna spread this out to Dublin somehow.
Yeah.
So
they should do.
They should.
I mean, you can't have Finn Balor not.
You can't tease that idea and then not have him be part of NXT TakeOver Dublin. Broserweights versus Undisputed Era versus Grizzled Young Veterans. It seems they're kind of
for the TakeOver Tampa card.
Yes.
Okay.
It seems like that's what they're building up. Last night, they had Undisputed Era call out Broserweights, and then the Grizzled Young Vets beat them up or whatever. So it seems like they're going in that direction. I like that.
I like that. I like Grizzled Young Vets. I do like Gibson more as a solo.
Me too.
Performer.
But they are a good tag team too.
They are a good tag team.
You're right, because he's so good on the mic too.
Exactly,
he's so good. He doesn't need a tag partner. He can easily get over. But also,
I think it's a good spot for him to be in right now.
Me too.
Yeah,
100%.
We'll see.
And then there's the women's ladder match for you get to be the number one contender for the women's title. Gargano versus Ciampa seems like maybe a loser leaves town match based on them being like, I gotta get him out of NXT or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be a different stipulation. I don't know. And then lastly, you'd think there's gonna be a Keith Lee title match for the North American title, and my guess is Killer Cross, because they've started airing those vignettes now. You would think.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right?
That'd be good. Yeah. I mean, it would make sense for he needs another big guy to
get out of this monotonous cycle of the guys that he's been stuck with him.
Yeah, for sure.
I did like the thing with Kim and Cameron Grimes this week, where he just
he pushed him out of the thing. Yeah,
that was so great.
Funny. Yeah,
I was cracking up with that. All right, we got to get out of here. Our time is up. Norman, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you on social media?
Find me on Twitter @NormanQ, please. Thanks.
No, you're not going to plug your Instagram?
Well, you can if you want. I'm on Instagram. I actually just set up a new Instagram, an alternative Instagram, to like sort of blog and curate live clips of British bands, live music and stuff. So if you go and follow that, that's the UK Music Archive. Yeah,
I like that.
It's new.
I like that.
I was bored as fuck, so I just set it up. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot better than like one of your secretive burner accounts. So.
Oh, those are still around. Don't you worry.
You can follow me on @RottenTat on social media. It's @WrestlingSheet. That's where you can find everything going on here with the website ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/C/WrestlingSheet. That's where you can find the videos that we do of this show and any other Wrestling Sheet content. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. Like the videos. Leave a comment. I read them all. I appreciate every single one of them. Every single one of them. So please keep doing that. You can also, if you just want to listen to us while you're driving, you can find us on all the biggest podcast platforms. Just search for Wrestling Sheet Radio. And you can also find me every once in a while on WWE Backstage. It airs on Fox Sports 1 Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys check that out. It's hosted by Renee Young, Booker T. There's always a cool panel there every week, so make sure you guys check that out as well. Look at me, mumble mouth over here. Okay, that's it. We're done. Officially tapping out for now. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet.